Welcome to part 2 of the Everything Podcast, episode 36. We talked about Stranger Things, we talked about the NFL preseason, and we talked about the new-ish movie called Nope. And we also talked about Cobra Kai. Now I want to talk about a movie I just watched. I recommend it to you, and I recommend it to everyone else. A Predator prequel, technically, called Prey. It was fantastic. I don't want to spoil it because it's actually very new, and I want you to watch it. Um, so it's obviously a continuation of the Predator movies, except it takes place before the 1986 Predator movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers. And I think it's one of the better movies of the year. It was released exclusively to Hulu for some strange reason. It could have totally been released in theaters, and it's one of Hulu's highest-grossing direct-to-streaming releases. So I don't know why it didn't go in theaters. I don't love direct-to-streaming service releases. I feel like the movie theater going experience can never be beaten. That being said, I still really enjoy this movie, and I definitely recommend you guys check it out. Once again, Prey came out a few days ago. Definitely check it out on Hulu.
Awesome. What grade, what letter grade would you give it?
I would give it a solid A minus.
Very cool.
All right, next I really wanted to talk about I Am Groot. All 5 episodes came out today.
Yeah, boy.
With about 3 minutes long, about 4 minutes long, about 2 minutes of credits, and about 2 minutes of actual content. It was everything that I wanted it to be, which wasn't much, but I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. The way I would describe this show is fun, but unnecessary.
That's for sure.
Fun because, Groot is a funny character with how he says, I am Groot in the different things that he does. And unnecessary because it's not like any of the content tied into like the greater MCU storyline, and it was just kind of there to be there. I enjoyed my favorite short was probably the final one because we had Rocket make a cameo, and
Of
it was nice
course.
to have some actual like big talking going on. So fun because of who Groot is as a character, but unnecessary because none of it tied into any greater MCU storyline, and it's not like any of the stories were too compelling. It's just kind of
of course.
Groot growing up and just exploring his character more.
And there are Pixar shorts, if you don't know, Pixar animated shorts. So I think they were trying to just do that. And animation/CGI wise, oh my gosh, was beautiful.
Yes, I CGI, A plus. Obviously, I mean I know you have your issues with certain things now, like their small screen content, but like especially on the big screen with movies, and now this with I Am Groot, just the visuals and the CGI is stuff I love about Marvel, and it was on full display in this show, which I saw will get a season 2. So let's see
Will
if
it
that can
really?
be any more.
Did it
Yeah,
say that?
I read that on a screen rant while I was
Oh,
scrolling through my phone a little
sweet.
earlier today. So
Nice.
yeah, I mean I guess they have more to say.
Yeah, and I think the main reason was to sell toys to little kids and to make money. But it's
Yeah. Sorry, go
acceptable.
ahead.
I don't fault Marvel for wanting to make money. It's what they do. I mean,
You
the
know,
the end goal is not to just constantly make really good movies. It's to make money, and to make money, you have to make good movies. So I think that's the end goal.
yeah. This like the rating for I Am Groot was PG, and I don't even think it needed to be PG. I think it could be like TV, like age 7, or have a rating like that. It was the most directed toward young kids Marvel project that I've ever seen.
Yeah, And I guess maybe some action, violence. I'm not sure. Um, but I'm checking IMDb here, and every episode has actually good ratings, I guess.
And I
Some
would give them, pretty good ratings too for, as you say, what they are.
Yeah, of course. Um, as a 7.2 on IMDb, uh, which is decent. I feel like 7 or 6.5 and above is good.
I would say
For
seven
IMDb.
or above makes me want to watch something, anything like 6.9 or below doesn't make me want to watch something. Seven or above does make me want to check something out.
I get that, yeah. And Rotten Tomatoes has an 80 for audience and critics, which is
Okay.
acceptable. I feel like that's
Yeah,
fair. It's
that's
totally
in the
fair.
B
I get it.
range.
Yeah,
Yeah. In a school report, that would be in the B range.
yeah. Um. So yeah, solid. Check it out. If I wasn't a big Marvel fan, I honestly wouldn't watch this. If I was a little kid, I would watch it.
Oh,
And once again,
it was the fan in me that made me do this. It was the co-host of the Everything podcast in me that made me watch this.
we can complain all we want, but at the end of the day, it wasn't directed towards us. It was directed towards younger kids.
And
So
I would love to hear their takes on it. Like if you're 7, heck, even if you're 5, like let's hear those kids' takes on it, and maybe they find it really fun,
of course they
enjoyable,
did.
and awesome.
It's definitely targeted towards the younger demographic, and I think a young kid would really enjoy this. All right, so
I think you're right. Yeah.
yeah, next I want to talk about She-Hulk. Just give our predictions for that, and we saw the full Daredevil suit, which I think looks incredibly ugly. Um, what did you think? Well,
I mean, all I look forward to seeing the Daredevil suit more in the show, but I didn't think it looked too bad. I mean, obviously there are changes to it, but I didn't dislike it, and I kind of touched on this last episode, and I'll say it again. Like I think like at the end of the day, like the biggest thing that is drawing me and giving me enough excitement to make me say, this will be a cool thing to sit down and watch is that I'm going to get Daredevil and I'm going to get
yep,
Wong,
totally.
two characters that I enjoy. Well, one that I love in Daredevil in this show, and that'll be cool. And I will watch the Incredible Hulk this weekend to get me ready for it, and Abomination being.
Yes, I think the Incredible Hulk movie is extremely underrated. I'm not saying it's a great movie. I'm not saying it's a good movie. I'm not saying you have to enjoy it. I just think people hate on it a bit too much, and I think it's unnecessary. And I love Edward Norton's take on the Hulk. Um, but the CGI is actually looking better in the more recent promos, so I'm excited about that. I can't wait to see Charlie Cox. Abomination, of course. I mean, how can you not get excited? Wong looks great.
It'll be well. I mean, Daredevil's obviously a lawyer, and the Jennifer Walters character is a lawyer, but Wong, it'll be very interesting to see how he fits into the whole storyline.
Yeah. All right. So next, I want to talk about Drago. Well, I'll let you take this one since you made a short on our shorts channel. Once again,
I
subscribe to it.
did, yeah, I did make a short. First of all, I would like to say that I'm glad to hear that Sylvester Stallone and Dolph Lundgren's relationship is okay, because I wouldn't want that broken. And look, will I see it to talk about it here on this show? Yeah, maybe, probably. But at the end of the day, I mean, come
I
on, this should be under Sylvester Stallone's control. He should have known about this.
Yeah. Here's what I think. If I didn't have this podcast, I would not watch this movie because it it doesn't it doesn't deserve to be watched. It's essentially stealing. He made this. This is his work. Sylvester Stallone deserves it. I mean, I'm sure you agree with me, Will.
Yeah, and I also think that if this is a bad movie, it's going to get, and rightfully so, judged even more harshly because Sylvester Stallone was not a part of it. So I think the fact that Sly didn't know about this is going to make it even worse for everybody involved in it, if it is bad, because then everybody will say, well, could have been better if Sly was in it. So I just don't think anybody is setting themselves up for success in this situation.
Yeah, I'm totally with you, and it's an interesting premise. It's just I really wish Sly had control over it. That's my big thing.
100%. This is Sylvester Stallone, everybody. Why are we doing this to a movie legend? This guy who created this iconic franchise, Irwin Winkler. Everybody, why are you doing this? You're just not seeing the picture here. Like, come on. I'm just not into it.
Yeah, and moving on from Drago, another thing with Sylvester Stallone, a new superhero movie with Sylvester Stallone called Samaritan is coming to Amazon Prime Video August 26th. Doesn't look great, but Sly is great, obviously, and looks interesting, so I'm definitely going to have to check it out.
And I typed this into the internet one day, and it said that yes, he will be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which I'm excited for.
Oh, really? Fantastic. I mean, his character is pretty cool in
Volume
2.
I thought he was pretty good in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I enjoyed his performance in that movie.
And yeah, he wasn't a major character or anything, obviously.
But a nice, solid role player, to use a sports term.
Yeah, and he added more depth, I guess, to Yondu's depth.
Yeah, certainly.
All right, next I wanted to talk about your Bruce Springsteen. You're going to see Bruce Springsteen live.
I am. First time in my life, shockingly, because I've been a fan of him for so long. But I mean, we're obviously out here in California, and no California dates yet released for this Springsteen tour. We'll see if that changes, and he and his crew release more dates. But Bruce Springsteen is the only person that we would do this for in this family. But because he means so much, me and my dad, Mike, who you've heard on this podcast many times now, we next February are going to be driving up north to Portland, Oregon to see Bruce Springsteen on the Letter to You tour, delayed 2 years due to COVID.
And boy, we tried to get tickets. Didn't work out at all.
Yeah, and I am really sorry for you about that, because I know you were enjoying this. You were excited to see him again because you fell asleep the first time that you saw him, but at least you've seen him one time before.
Yeah. Let me get this straight. When I first saw him, I was about 6, 7.
And it was on his River Tour 2.0 tour, right?
Yeah. Yes. And it makes me mad even talking about it, but I fell asleep because I mean his concert's gone for a while, and I was young, so
certain Springsteen concerts, I think his record concert length is like 3.5 hours to 3 hours and 43 minutes. Oh, actually, no. I think he actually topped 4 hours once. So yes, Springsteen concerts are definitely a longer length.
Yeah, and yeah, it's just upsetting. So maybe,
of course,
maybe some tickets will come back on sale. Maybe we'll be able to find a way to see him. But if not, at least you'll be able to see him. And yeah,
I find it crazy that there have been no dates announced in California yet. I mean, forget San Francisco, which is what I'm the closest to here in Northern California. Look at Los Angeles and what a marquee city that is, and that he's not even going there. So that's surprising to me. I hope more dates come out, because that would make common sense.
I feel like they will at some point. I mean, they kind of have to.
Yeah. I
Because
mean, it's more than just
he wants to make money,
California.
right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like more than just California that he's not going to be going to. So that gives me the biggest sense that more announcements are still to come.
yeah, I'm really excited.
And it sounds like it'll be a nice blend of old material and new material from the Letter to You album, which is super exciting to me. And he also didn't rule out possibly playing some songs from Western Stars, which I would just love to see because obviously there was not a live tour for that album, although there is an excellent movie.
Yes. So yeah, I'm just so happy for you that you get to see him.
Thank you,
Sad
Ken.
that I
Yeah.
will not be able to see it, but I'm sure you'll have a fun time. And
Yeah.
yeah, that ends part 2 of episode 36 of the Everything Podcast. Anything else to add, Will?
Just Forest Hill, his debut on the Everything Podcast this Saturday night, everybody, with Million Miles. You're going to love it.
Yep. Great song. Definitely check it out on his YouTube channel or on his Spotify. Pretty much anywhere where you can get music. Check out Forest Hill. Listen to Million Miles. And yeah. Forrest, thank you so much for doing this, by the way.
And you will also hear the inspiration and the story behind the song as well.
And both Forrest and John will be doing that. And yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this 2-part episode of the Everything Podcast. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.